Greetings and welcome to Quest for Lubok. This is the first video documenting my creation of my first very ever text adventure game, or interactive fiction if you, well, depending on whatever you like to call it. I am the author of the game. Now, the reason why I decided to do this is it's actually quite funny because on YouTube I've noticed there's a lot of wonderful games, right? And it got me thinking, like I was honestly thinking, walking around, thinking to myself, wondering just what I was going to do with my life. You know, I'm old, I have a family, I have a wife, I have a job, and I have a cat. And back in my youth, I was always playing old video games, always diving into the realm of fantasy and science fiction and horror and stuff like that. I used to peruse shareware CDs most of the time. If you don't know what a shareware CD is, it is basically a CD-ROM, so CD, of programs that were for free on BBSs or programs that were in the shareware community before the death of the shareware community. So basically like demos, right? And as everybody knows, the game Doom started off as, you know, how it gained traction was through shareware, through the BBSs and whatnot. And so my parents bought a computer back in the day. It was an expensive computer, but it was junk. It was, I think, 6 months after it was purchased. It was a clone, I should say. So it wasn't a name brand. So if you don't know what that means, you know, if a computer is a clone, you don't really have that much these days because now everything's so relatively inexpensive. But back in the day, like a name brand computer was like, let's say IBM, Hewlett Packard, Dell, you know, stuff like that. And a clone was basically just a home built computer. And so it had, I believe, 1.12 gigs, well, gig of a hard drive. So I got all these discs with it. I believe it came with the computer, like the store they bought it from. And it was loaded to the brim, like shareware discs. And these discs had a whole variety of like, well, it had like the first episode of Wolfenstein, like Doom, you know, Rise of the Triad, all that stuff. Hexen is another one I recall very, very briefly. But it had a lot of this stuff. And so it had these games on it. Then it had like these little no-name chintzy games. I remember this one game in particular called Jetpack. And it was basically like this little, it was a single screen platformer game. So you had one screen, you had to collect all the jewels, then you had to get the key and go to the exit. And that's all it was. And it came with a builder. So if you're too young and you don't know what a builder is in a video game, so you can make your own custom levels. You can make your own custom levels with the enemies of your choice and the objects of your choice all within the game's files. And it was actually really cool. I actually really liked it. You know, I call it chintzy, but even by then, those standards, 1996, it was still pretty chintzy. Chip's Challenge was another one I really enjoyed. That was a good game. You know, I remember just sitting down and playing Chip's Challenge during the summer vacation and just really enjoying the concept of it. And on top of that, on these discs too, there was like tons of little games, right? Like text adventures. Like there'd be like really old independent text adventures. Now, by what I mean by old and independent stuff like that, just stuff that people made in their own homes as a hobby, thinking, you know, hey, this would be fun. Maybe I can make some pocket change, you know, stuff like that. You know, because when you think of a text adventure, everybody thinks of Zork. But when I think of a text adventure, I think about the games that are made by some 15 or 16-year-old kid in their room, you know, using their parents' P.O. box and setting up a business in the summer to make some extra money because they know how to run a variant of BASIC. Or the unemployed person that really likes computers and was making a game and figured, you know, hey, maybe I can make a lot of money in the software industry. Getting back to like kids making games, stuff like that. That's how Ultima started, the first one, which I actually did at one point have on this really cool compilation floppy, and I have no idea where the hell I got this floppy from. Now, this floppy was a wonderful, wonderful thing. It had Ultima One, it had Zork, it had like all this other stuff, right? So that was another treasure of mine growing up, and being able just to sit down and relax and just play these games, not like day in day out. There was another game that I don't know the name of, but it was written in BASIC. Like you could tell it was written in QBasic. Everything was blocky. The colors are bland. It was very slow. It was text based, but it had the same setup as something you'd find in Police Quest. You know, like the old Sierra games, Sierra Online games. And if you ever play like Leisure Suit Larry 2, like that kind of setup. And basically, it was like you in this village, and you had to like do something, and there was like pillars, and it was like ancient Greece, and this is how bad I am. Like I'll think something is really great and really intriguing, and just like really out there, but for whatever reason, my mind always seems to forget the name of it. I haven't been able to find it since. I've been over to my parents' place a few times, and I've been thinking to myself I should actually go out there and actually just have some fun and try to find it. And it comes to the point where, all these games are probably non-existent. You probably cannot find a copy of that stuff anywhere. Like, of course, you can find Zork and Doom and all that stuff, That's like the mainstream stuff, right? But the means of creating something truly wonderful that only a handful of people will love, that takes something. I actually think it's actually going to be pretty sweet. And so when I was younger, I was coming up with these game ideas. Like I had these notebooks filled with ideas and maps and character layouts and stuff like that. And I was like 12 years old or something. I actually had fun with it. It was nice. It got me through the summer. And it was this really great game where you're in a castle, it's fantasy setting, you gotta defeat an evil wizard, right? Believe me, easy wizard, that'd be actually pretty funny too. But it was an evil wizard, and I was thinking to myself, I was like, if you're gonna make a text adventure game or interactive fiction game, like that's the kind of thing you do, right? Make it as generic as possible. So fast forward to now, where I'm 37 years old, and I'm thinking about it, thinking to myself. Actually, it was actually quite funny, because I started working on it again like a while ago, like a month ago. I was like, oh my goodness, this is great, this is fun, this is going to be something special. And so I came to the point where I said, you know what, the heck with it, I'm going to go out and I'm actually gonna make something special. I'm gonna do something, right? I want something out there with my name on it, that was a hobby, not in the hopes of making money or anything like that. That's not my thing. But I actually want to, teach people. I want people to learn from what I'm doing. I want people to get intrigued with programming and, old school gaming. And there's this really great divide between people, is that they become so conditioned to actually want to work on something, but when there's like a hurdle or one little disturbance or whatever, they want to put everything down and then like kind of walk away from it. I did that for, I'm really, really terrible, but like over 20 years, right? And so I came to actually really love it. It's something that I do every day. Version 1.0 is already out. It's on GitHub if you want it. Take from it what you will, learn from it. The engine I use is something that I wrote a long time ago. I wrote it, like, what would you say, like 7-8 years, maybe 22, yeah, something like that. It's in QBasic. It's basically just a cut and paste type engine. Like you have your section, your intro, then you have your section in the screen, then you have your section items. Interactive items, collecting items, interactive characters. You can talk to them, you can take items, all that stuff, and kill them with it, and then get game overs and all that stuff. And then you have the rooms. And for me personally, like I've seen the old school way how they map out text adventures back in the day, with Zork 1 and stuff like that. Like, that's really cool. I do like that. I thought that was really articulate and really neat and polished and everything like that. But for me, it's nothing but like a sheet of paper with like little rectangles and squares and lines connected to it on loose leaf, and it looks very, very odd and very, very unprofessional. But who's professional these days, right? So it's all out there for free on GitHub. You look up Quest for Lubok. You go to this channel, you could find it. It's on the little banner there. Same with the Reddit, which is just me, which I figured would be great for archiving stuff. I had my Twitter there too, and the website. So I was like, I'm getting really into this now. Like, I'm actually sitting down and I'm actually having a blast doing this, because at the end of the day, this is something I can leave for my kids. This is something that anybody who wants to learn how to program could do. And then you get to this point where it's like, oh wow, I went over to the GitHub and I looked at the stats and the traffic and stuff like that. And it was amazing. Like, it was just amazing to see how many people looked at it, how many people downloaded it. Like, it's in a very old programming language. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, it's QBasic. I want to say 30 years old. Me, probably older than that. Probably older than me. But it's just one of those things where you can sit down and enjoy it and actually relax it's perfect for the novice. If you've never programmed before, I see a lot of people using Unity. Like, I'm no expert, okay? Like, I'll be the first person to tell you, like, I know nothing about professional programming. Like, I know nothing. I I wrote an engine in QBasic years ago. It's spaghetti code. All right, I'm not gonna lie. Is it a great engine? Nah, not really. Is it good enough for what I'm doing? Yes. Is it a good teaching, like the first step in learning, if you ever want to learn how to make your own text adventure in BASIC? Yes, it is. I don't do the comments on my code, and I've been told before that you need to do that, or else people won't know what to do. But it's so easy to learn, and if anyone's watching this and they need help or whatever, I'll be more than happy to help them. Like, there's even a timer, and the timer doesn't really work that well either, because it goes minutes, seconds, milliseconds. I always thought milliseconds would be a good addition, something to have fun with, just for those diehards that want to try to, like, reach it at the very last second, or explore every twist and turn no matter what. And so on the screen here, you're watching me playing Quest for Lubok. And it's a very rough game. Like, it's not polished. Like, there's probably there's grammar issues. I assure you there probably is. And I just like doing it because it's actually quite fun. And it's there's bugs in it. There's, not bugs that'll crash the system or, the game system or whatever, but like bugs in the paths, as you guys will see. I'll give me one direction and I'll try moving in it and it won't let me. I think it was like the first room. It said I can go south, but I won't. Like, I just gotta change some stuff and fix some stuff in the paths and make sure all the connections are good. And, like this isn't going to be out and published, by a huge, AAA game developer. And if that was the case, then I wouldn't want it to be anyways. Like look at all the stuff that comes out. Like, what the heck's up with DLC anyways? Like, I don't know, but I'm going off on a tangent. But this game, it's something, it's something that means a lot to me. I have never finished it. I want to finish it. And I figured, why not document my journey? Why not document every little aspect of my travels through, from the start to the set, to the middle, to the end. It's going to take a while. Like, this isn't going to be something that gets done in like 3 weeks or 3 months, or I don't even know, 3 years. I don't know if it's going to be 3 years, but it's something that's always expanding. And I've checked a long time ago on this engine when I was doing some tests on it, and I think it could like hold up to like 10,000 rooms. That's just from my own calculations and hopes and dreams and whatnot like that. But it's just one of those things that I could actually take and grow and build from it, and then flesh out a massive game. Like, I've already finished up the main level, which is the castle floor. Then you have the dungeon, which I am planning on expanding. And then you got the clock tower, and that's only in version 1.0. In it, there's already tons of NPCs, zombies, bats, skeletons, a serpent, and like everything you'd find in a castle, ghosts. There's ghosts in it too, and this game, I made it for the purpose of exploration. Like, there's no save feature in it because I don't know how to write a save feature. Like, I don't know squat about writing a save feature, but it's one of those games where, like, it's just, you just turn it on, you shut your brain off, and you go into the darkness that is the castle, trying to find the Dark Prince Lubok, trying to figure it all out. It's more of an exploration game. You can interact with items and NPCs and monsters and ghouls and goblins and Frankensteins and Draculas and aliens and, mole men and werewolves and dinosaurs. I'm just kidding. I'm just going on and on and on. But but it's just one of those games where you can just explore freely, and you got a timer. And I always like to make it the goal of collecting everything. Instead of going to like point A to point B to point C, yeah, go ahead, collect some stuff. Hey, you want the dagger? That's great. You don't want it? Hey, that's even greater, And, down the road, you'll come to a spot where you need to open a chest and there's no key and you need the dagger. Oh, you don't have it? Whatever. There's an orb of life. Do you want to take it? Because, it gives off all this energy and stuff. And then there's an orb of death and a lantern. And it's just one of those things where you could actually just sit down and relax and play. And I am going to start doing some more in-depth videos rather than just showing gameplay, just talking over it. I want to do some room programming, show you guys what I'm doing. Just dive into many different topics about this game, like what I hope to aspire with this game and who I hope to inspire and how I want to, not scare people away from text adventures or interactive fiction. And if you read my blog, you'll see that I use those two terms, interchangeably. Yeah, they mean the same thing, but to me personally, interactive fiction is stuff that is my personal take. It's stuff that's written in Inform or TADS, something that's written with an an Infocom game, like something like that. Like, that's interactive fiction. That's like AAA Hollywood type production right there. While a text adventure is something that's written in to me, it's written in BASIC or C or C++, something like that, where it runs so primarily on its own without an interpreter, without another file to read the file, without a program to read the text file or the files or whatever. So yeah, like, this is a text adventure, and I don't know, like, I've never really met anybody who's really into text adventures. I post every once in a while on the interactive fiction subreddit, which is always fun. It's something that I actually like to do. I like to check out what other people are doing too, right? Because it's such a vast genre if you think about, like, text adventures and interactive fiction and all the creative minds and bodies that put their hearts into it. Like those people are amazing, and I hope to join them someday, and I hope you enjoy and join me on this journey. I don't know, where it'll take me, but I will document every bit of it. I'm almost finished version 1.1, which does open up to a graveyard, or cemetery, I should say. But it is something that, you go wander around and there's ghosts and zombies and tombstones to read. And you go from there, and then you just kind of get a feel for the place. There's a secret passage in the graveyard. So, can you find it? Can you not find it? And I figured like every like update will include like either cleaned up dialogue or cleaned up descriptions, and every little change by adding new stuff to the map, like new rooms, new sections, and stuff like that, would be added into other updates. Like a point one would be rooms and stuff like that. Then a 0.15 would be, I don't know, characters and stuff. I don't know the whole system yet, but I'll figure it out. And you guys are along for the ride now. So with that being said, I hope you guys go to my GitHub and check out Quest for Lubok. You guys won't be disappointed. With that being said, have a wonderful day. Have a great time. Tell me what you like about the game, or what's your favorite text adventure or interactive fiction game? Like, what's your favorite? Because I would love to know. With that being said, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.